Okay, people, thank you for joining me again on this tough, rugged journey of learning what true forgiveness looks like. Yesterday, we talked about the slippery slope that unforgiveness puts us on. We spoke about unforgiveness that gets stated. We first spoke about anger that gets overstated. And now we spoke about the bitterness that turns internal, becomes passive aggressive, and is very, very miserable to do and to be a part of. Let me take you to a couple more today. The next one is a terrible thing. When bitterness is not dealt with, it turns to slander. And Bruce Wilkinson picks up on this thing, and you'll, I'm sure, be dealing with this in your cell groups. But slander is where you verbalize to others the pain of where you're at. And if you don't deal with the anger and the bitterness and the unforgiveness, it eventually has a way of very toxically making its way out of your mouth. And once you verbalize it, oh boy, then you are in serious trouble. Because once you verbalize something like this, it seals it. And it's getting tougher and it's getting harder for you to be able to deal with the things that you say to others. You feel proud that you can't go back on what you said because people are going to look down on you. Your pride gets affected. Your ego gets trashed. So be very careful what you say to people about how you feel on the issue of the person you need to forgive. I am aware that we need to talk to somebody, but just don't talk to everybody. I tell you, there are people you can't trust. You can't trust them with that information because they would love to run off and say, hey, do you know, I've had people in church, how's this? Come say, hey, Trevor, we just think you need to know this so that you can pray for them. And I stopped them there. I said, no. I don't think you want to pray for them. I think you just have a juicy little tidbit that you want to share with me. And you're not asking me genuinely to pray for them. You just want to tell me something. And I don't want to hear that stuff. Don't ever do that. Because slander is a terrible thing. The book of Proverbs speaks strongly against those who speak in open forums about people around them. I got to tell you, these car park things that we have, where we sit in the car park or the coffee shops or the gyms or wherever we go and hang out with those little cronies we hang out with, and these words come out of our mouths. People, it's destructive and it's sinister and it's in the word, but the Bible tells us it's wicked. Stop it. Stop it. And rather speak positively about the people that you know and the people, even if they're in crisis. They want you to say, well, let's not talk about that. Let's just go home and you just pray about those things. Let's move on and talk about the weather. Those are the conversations that courageous people will have when they start listening to slander. Be courageous and stop it in its tracks. The next aspect of unforgiveness is found in resentment. Resentment is really bad because resentment happens in the dark. At night, when you lie in your bed and you begin to resent, you begin to go over and over these things. I've been there. I know this. And you begin to resent that person. And even if that person has done something mild to you, by the next morning he's an axe murderer and you hate the guy even more than you ever have before because you've fed this unforgiveness. Unforgiveness needs to be starved. Put it on a daily ration of nothing. And watch what happens to it. Eventually it will dry up and it will blow out of your life. But resentment is there because we think about it, we ponder it, we think about these things all day long, and we find at the end of the day that we're more miserable, it's not achieved anything. And you know what? It's made the situation a whole lot bigger than you ever thought it was. When we resent to the extent that resentment does, it's just like a balloon. It just blows this thing up in our minds. And what was started as something that could have been quite small, maybe even insignificant, is now like a Titanic that is about to sink your life. So be careful about what you think about. David puts it like he says, on my bed at night, Lord, I think about you. It's a good thing to do. Put resentment in a box. Don't let it out. Put a lid in it, because if it gets out of there, it's going to trash you. Going to trash your life. When you lie in bed, memorize some Bible verses, play some worship music, focus on God, and chase those chokos out of your mind, because that's what resentment does to you. It can destroy you and make the situation a whole lot bigger, not necessarily in the externals, but certainly in the internals of your mind. So deal with it. We talk about the other ones, last two, tomorrow, and then we'll pick up this. See you soon.